What is going on, guys? Today we are making the Mclaren even faster. Let's roll. Oh my God, the snow coverage on the hills. 10,000 likes on this video and I'll drop a snowboarding vlog. You guys know I love my carbon fiber hood, but check out what happens when it rains. It stores water. So the Mclaren is already crazy fast, but I want to make sure I never lose to a stock 720S. I'm headed to Dyno Spectrum right now, the guys who have the world record for fastest Mclaren 600Lt and 720S. They're the guys that tuned the green 600Lt in Miami that caused this whole fury of me wanting to mod the car. Let's see what they got. Boom, and we're here. Guys, how crazy is this? Talk about a small world. So as I pulled into the parking lot for Dyno Spectrum, I noticed I've totally been here before. And the reason is I was at World Motorsports a couple years ago getting the Anarchy wheels installed on my Huracan. And now we've got the 600LT here. I actually went in Dyno Spectrum's dyno cell without knowing it. Now my car is gonna go on the dyno. So they're taking off the rear diffuser right now, which is a bit of a process. Unfortunately, you have to take off the rear diffuser to dyno this car because of the way the carbon is. You don't want to bend or crack that with the straps, but they've got some epic cars in here. Nearly 800 wheel horsepower 675 LT that's running on full E85. So one thing people are doing with these Mclarens now is changing the injectors and running them on full ethanol. This car doesn't even have upgraded turbos and it's making near 800 horsepower to the wheels. And then check this out, an absolutely gnarly 911 turbo build that just ran 195.5 miles at shift sector. Took the engine out of it. It's funny to see a 675 LT in here because if you guys remember a long time ago, I did a review on a 675 LT coupe and I said it's probably the only car I would trade my supercharged Huracan for. Then they came out with the 600 LT, which I like in many ways better than the 675. There's some aspects of this car I like. The front bumper is so sexy, especially in Nardo Gray. All right guys, the cars get even cooler in the back of the shop. This is the world's fastest front wheel drive car, and it set the record in 2004. Let's take a look at this. It ran 6 seconds in the quarter mile. I looked at the car at first and went, wait, why are the front wheels so big? That's because this is a front wheel drive car. And the crazy part is they took a lot of stuff from normal drag cars and flipped it around. So it's got a Ford 8-inch rear end, except it's not a rear end, it's a front end. And look at the size of this Turbonetics turbo. That is unbelievable. Obviously, they had to do a full custom suspension setup because, well, a front-wheel drive car making this much power, that's not very typical. Wow. So this is pretty cool. As it turns out, you don't actually have to take the entire rear bumper and rear diffuser off. That takes the better part of an hour and a half or 2 hours to do. Instead, this took about 20 minutes. And we've got this piece, this plastic piece that attaches to the bottom part of the diffuser that's causing the trouble. She's ready to go on the dyno. All right, back in one of the craziest dyno cells I've been in my entire life for the first time in 2 years. About to do some stock dyno pull, not stock, the stage 2 dyno pulls on the current tune. So on VF's dyno, it made 604 to the wheels. So we're gonna see what it makes on this dyno, and then we're gonna do a retune on 91, see how much power that gets, and then, well, kind of got a lot of race fuel, so maybe we'll spice some things up. I do have to say, guys, how sick is this dyno? The fact that you can shut the doors and be next to your neighbors and not make all that much noise. When you run cars on the dyno, it's unbelievably loud. And the fan system that this, this dyno has, I mean, I imagine this is a $500,000, potentially $1 million room, but look at the size of the fans to make sure that the car doesn't heat soak while you're doing dyno pulls, because obviously when you're driving a car in real life, going 50 miles an hour, doing a 50 pull or 60 roll, you're gonna have a lot of wind going over the car and cooling the engine, but that doesn't happen when the car is stationary, so you need stuff like that. All right guys, we're about to do the first dyno pull. It is so windy in here with all the fans. Gonna see what it's currently making in rear wheel drive mode on this dyno. All right, so on VF's dyno, the car car made 604 wheel horsepower. It's pretty crazy that they can be doing a dyno pull in here and me and Alex can have a conversation at the same time. All right, guys, what do you think? Change the McLaren hood to that? I'm trying to find out where Bay Boulevard is, honestly.
Me too.
All right, guys, so we just did a series of dyno pulls to get the baseline for what the previous tune was and then compare it to what the tune after is. Now, they're doing some really cool stuff. The reason that I wanted to come to Dyno Spectrum is that they have this thing called map switching. Now, I remember this from the GTR days when I was back in Michigan. All my friends had GTRs and they were able to sit in their car and with the indicator stock or clicking buttons in the dash, they were able to switch from stock power to a flame map to kill tune to a full E85 or race map. And I want to have that on this car so I can run it at stock power for certain situations. I want to be able to run on MS109 or full race gas in other situations. And I don't always want to be shooting flames at all times. So it's really cool. But we got the first dyno pulls done. As you guys can see, making almost identical power to on VF's dyno at just about 604 horsepower to the wheels. The results are in from the 91 dyno runs. I'm so excited. Well, you'll see. The power levels are crazy, but I'm so excited to put race fuel in this. They're actually draining the tank right now, and they're going to put another fuel in it to make even more power. I don't know if it's going to be 104 or MS109. We'll find out soon, but check this out. The car is now making 678 horsepower at the wheels and 589 pound-feet of torque at the wheels. If I can't beat a 720 at this point, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. But with race fuel, should pick up some extra power. Guys, it was 605 before. This is gonna be ridiculous. Working on putting in the race fuel. So the cool thing is, it looks like we're able to disconnect the fuel line and actually empty some of the gas because I showed up with a full tank of gas and put in some of this Sunoco 260 GT 104 octane. So for some reason, the McLaren's power doesn't want to turn off right now, which is an issue because, well, the fuel is gonna start spraying everywhere. So we've disconnected the battery in the front. Interestingly, it's like the exact same setup as my Gallardo and Huracan with the battery location, this little window, and then really easy access to the battery if you wanna attach a battery tender or you wanna replace the battery or check the voltage. We've got that disconnected or about to be disconnected, and then we're gonna put in the race gas. Oh look, I got a Scooby snack in my roof scoop. Excuse me. Race fuel going in. About to run the car for the first time on race gas. I am so excited, 104 octane. Let's see what kind of power this girl makes. Well guys, here it is. How absolutely insane is this? The 600LT just made 720 horsepower to the wheels running on race fuel. So that compares to 604 wheel horsepower that I was making before, and the car already scared the absolute crap out of me. and now it's making 720. I'm actually like almost partially scared to drive the car. It's really cool. These guys have so much knowledge and they write their own programs, their own code, and they have a level of control over the McLaren products and Porsche products. That's what they specialize in at Dyno Spectrum, that allows them to do things that, well, many other people can't. That's the reason why they've got a 720S that ran 8.9 seconds in the quarter mile, has the fastest 60 to 130 time, runs crazy half mile times, and while my car is not nearly that level of speed, hopefully someday it will be. What's really cool is they've got this kind of remote boost control that they've come up with that allows them to limit the torque on the cars. And the issue with these are, if you run way too much torque, you can bend rods and cause all sorts of problems in the engine. Obviously, you know, the engine is about, I think, $80,000, and that's just the part, then all the labor to replace the old engine and put a new one in. It's a experience that I don't want to go through. So knowing that we've got all these fail-safe measures is really cool in my mind. But I think, well, I'm gonna drive the car, but I think I've been convinced to do a turbo upgrade on it. I don't know. Well, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Well, guys, there you have it. Once again, special thanks to Dyno Spectrum for making this thing absolutely badass. 720 wheel horsepower. It did one run that was like 727. But we'll call it 720. We'll round down, which is like something that, well, you guys know, I never round down. Now, I know you guys gave me a lot of shit in my last video for basically teasing you and not doing the first drive with the Supra on the same day as the dyno pull. But guys, it's dark outside just like it was with the Supra. I want the best possible video with good lighting with GoPros. So if you're not already subscribed, smash that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on because, well, I can't wait to take this out for its first drive. Alright guys, so if you stayed this long in the video, thank you so much for the support and dedication to the channel. So we're gonna do the first pull in the 720 wheel horsepower 600LT. Alright, third gear. I'm gonna hop on the brakes a little bit because we got brake boosting. Alright, and... oh, what the fuck? What the... oh! Oh! See you next video, holy shit!